our entire government, and the people of Antigua and Barbuda, we are truly honored to welcome you back, sir, to a place of happy childhood memories, your home in the Caribbean. Thank you.
So there we just had it, our Minister of Tourism, Economic Development, Investment and Energy, the Honorable Asset Michael, giving the welcome to His Royal Highness Prince Henry of Wales. We, however, do have to apologize to our viewers for that slight break in transmission that just took place. That was as a result of technical issues completely beyond our control, but nevertheless, we have fixed it. We are back up, ready to go. All right, so we'll rejoin the proceedings happening now on stage.
And the Peter Harrison Heritage Foundation. And here to tell you more about the foundation and to give you an overview of the project, please give a warm and hearty welcome to Sir Peter Harrison.
Your Royal Highness, Prince Henry of Wales, Head of State, His Excellency Sir Rodney Williams, Head of Government, Prime Minister on Gaston Brown, Government Ministers, National Park Authority representatives, distinguished guests, good evening. I'm absolutely thrilled to be standing here in front of you all today upon this restoration of Clarence House in English Harbour. The funding for the restoration up to now adds up to 9.4 million EC dollars. I'm hoping there won't be much more, but that funding has been provided by the Peter Harrison Heritage Foundation, which is registered in England. I also have a Peter Harrison Foundation, which is registered in England, and we've been conducting charitable matters since 1999-2000, when I sold my internet business and put a lot of money into the charitable activities. Now, basically, this gift, which is a gift to the people of Antigua and Barbuda, basically, this gift flows from the success of my yacht Sojourner in being awarded the Lord Nelson Trophy as the overall winner of Antigua Race Week in 2011. My skipper, who was on the boat that day, Paul Hodgson Johnson, who has a house in Antigua and from Denmark, is with us somewhere in the audience today. Now, I've been competing in Antigua Race Week since 1995. I've won various class races and positions and so on, but I'd never won the overall winner's trophy. So I was so delighted to have won this trophy that after the prize giving, I met up with Anne-Marie Martin, the Chief Executive of the National Parks. As I've said, I've been running my Peter Harrison Charitable Foundation in England from 1999 to 2000, and I asked Anne-Marie, was there anything she might think I could be able to do for Antigua? We were near the Copper and Lumber store, and she walked me over to the harbour side over there and pointed her finger up to here and said, Clarence House. I had been round Clarence House before, so I knew what it was, and I knew it was in some degree of disrepair. Now, as you all know, Clarence House was built in the 1780s for the Duke of Clarence as Governor General, but I'm not sure that he ever came to live in it here. Now, the Duke was known as the Sailor King, and he was the third son of George III, who in 1830 became King William IV of the United Kingdom. I don't know whether he ever came here, but I thought he might have been an early British royal who did. As a sailor, I knew of Lord Nelson, of course, and the Battle of Trafalgar fame, and that he'd been here as head of the British fleet for 4 years in the 1780s. So it was my winning the Lord Nelson Trophy and my regarding Antigua as my second home, and the historic relationship between our two countries that prompted myself and fellow trustees of the Peter Harrison Heritage Foundation back in London to back the restoration of Clarence House. We therefore set up, it was already established, but he hadn't got any money in it, I'm afraid, the previous trust. I think it had 1,000 either US dollars or 1,000 EC. So we took over that Clarence House Restoration Trust. I was appointed as chairman with Mr. Geoffrey Joel Tack and Dr. Reginald Murphy as trustees of the fund. Now, I've been very involved in all of the development and the design work and all the project management and working with the team here in Antigua. So I've not been just sitting at home and handing the money over. Basically, we've handed the money over as progress has been made and work has been certified by our quantity surveyor and so on and so forth. And I've kept up a very close hand in the development and redevelopment of all of this Clarence House. I would therefore like to thank the team members in Antigua, Anne-Marie Martin, whose prompting got the whole idea in my mind, and for subsequently overseeing the project for the last 3.5 years. Anne-Marie and I and Dr. Murphy have been in regular telephone or email communications, and of course I've come over here a number of times sailing my boat in the Antigua Race Week, so I've been here a lot of times. I would also like to thank Andrew Goodenough, who is the architect, Richard Watson, quantity surveyor, Junie Davis, engineer, project managers Michael Flamius and Marina Smith, and Nicola Murphy as interior decorator. And also the excellence of work and craftsmanship of the stonemasons, joiners, painters, carpenters, and all the other craftsmen, which I'm glad to say, most of, if not all, are based here in the island. So a lot of this work, or most of this work, has all been done with Antiguans living here. Is that still going? Yeah. I'd also like to thank the former Governor-General of Antigua, Dame Louise Lake Tack, with whom I had a lot of the early negotiations about what we needed to do here, and His Excellency Sir Rodney Williams for their involvement and support in this project. I'd also like to thank the Mill Reef Club for their donation of over 140 tonnes of stone. We had to give you some idea of the extra stonework. We initially worked on 100 tonnes, but as we, of course, gradually attempted to restore the building, we found more and more of the stonework was unsatisfactory. And so I emphasised to Anne-Marie that I wanted a complete and utter, totally proper rebuild of this and not subject to restrictive budgets. And that's what we've got. So I'd thank the trustees of the Peter Harrison Heritage Foundation in Reigate, London, with myself as chairman, for approving the initial grant of 8 million EC dollars, later increased to 9.4 million EC dollars and rising, I think. In summary, I think, as the vicar has said, Bishop has said, this is not a patch-up or a simple repair project, but it is a full restoration with careful rebuilding of the house and outbuildings, complete new construction of kitchens with major capacity for all sorts of functions. The objective of use of here is to be for the people of Antigua and Barbuda, who can come and visit from time to time, but also important government VIP visitors and events like weddings and other things, so that we can make it work advantageously for the island. With the National Parks Authority having been granted World Heritage status, and with Clarence House creating the wow factor which I was desiring right from the beginning, the combined Clarence House and English Harbour will benefit the people and economy of Antigua and Barbuda for many years to come. And I believe the building will last for at least another 200 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Peter Harrison. And now I'll invite His Excellency Sir Rodney Williams, Governor General of Antigua and Barbuda, to extend special greetings to you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Your Royal Highness, Prince Henry of Wales, Head of Government, the Honourable Gaston Brown and Mrs. Brown, other members of Parliament, members of the National Parks Committees, Lady Williams, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. As Governor General of Antigua and Barbuda, it was my pleasure to welcome Prince Henry of Wales to Antigua and Barbuda this afternoon. And I say to you, sir, thank you for visiting Antigua on the occasion of our 35th anniversary of our independence and at the start of what will be, I am sure, an exciting Caribbean tour. On her return to Britain after a similar tour in 1955, Princess Margaret said that the islanders had been cheerful and friendly, generous and warm-hearted, and I am confident, sir, that you will find them the very same today. Welcome, too, to the newly restored Clarence House here in English Harbour. This evening, or today, is the 69th wedding anniversary of the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. And now they are entering the 70th year of marriage. And of course, Clarence House in London was their first home soon after their marriage. This house was originally the Commissioner's House, where King William IV lived as a young naval officer in the 1780s, when he was serving out here with Admiral Nelson. And it was he who commissioned Clarence House in London, and both houses are named after him. As you heard earlier, this restoration owes much to the support of Princess Margaret. Not only did she become patron of this English Harbour Repair Appeal, helping Sir Kenneth Blackburn to restore Nelson's Dockyard in the 1950s, but she was also patron of the Clarence House Restoration Trust. Having visited Antigua in 1955, she returned to Antigua on her honeymoon, and she stayed right here in Clarence House with Lord Snowdon for 2 weeks in 1962. In February 1997, Her Royal Highness was present at a fundraising dinner at the Estate House at Jambi Bay in Antigua on behalf of Clarence House Restoration Trust. And I want to tell you tonight that 2 nights ago, I was at that Estate House. And if you were to visit that Estate House now, it is something of excellence. And I want to also congratulate them for what they're doing there. This restoration could not have succeeded without the magnificent support of Sir Peter Harrison, who has been so generous to this project. He is in every way a godfather to this restoration project and to Antigua and Barbuda. And I do not want to kill the goose that laid the golden egg, but I am looking for a godfather for Government House. The National Parks Authority is an important component of the whole preservation of history and heritage. And it has responsibility for protection, preservation, and restoration of Nelson's Dockyard National Park, an area renowned for its rich heritage, natural beauty, and pristine and scenic landscapes. Clarence House stands proudly in the middle of this park, which is now designated as a World Heritage Site, which you heard before. The National Parks Board, the National Parks Commissioner, Mrs. Anne-Marie Martin, and her team, and the Clarence House Trust are to be applauded for their outstanding efforts in making the park what it is today. And for successfully completing the Clarence House project. There are many others who have worked tirelessly to bring this project to its culminating point. And I want to say we thank all of you sincerely. Sir, next February, Her Majesty the Queen will have been head of the Commonwealth for a remarkable 65 years. And we thank you for advancing Her Majesty's work in unifying the Commonwealth and overseas territories, which the Queen has so rightfully described as a family of nations. At the dockyard, I unveiled this morning the first disc for the Commonwealth walkways in the Caribbean. On Tuesday, at the Queen Victoria Botanical Gardens Park, you, sir, will unveil the plaque to launch the Queen's Commonwealth Canopy. We are indeed delighted to be a part of the Commonwealth family. I would also wish you, sir, to extend our heartfelt appreciation to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II for sending you as her representative in this month when we have been celebrating our 35th anniversary of independence. We extend through you our sincere thanks for her congratulatory message, which you will deliver. It therefore gives me great pleasure, following the delivery of Her Majesty's message, to invite you in a short while to unveil a plaque to officially open Clarence House. Thank you all very much, and thanks for coming here.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you have heard, he is here on behalf of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. He will be delivering greetings on the celebration of our 35th anniversary of independence of Antigua and Barbuda. And so to deliver those greetings, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to His Royal Highness, Prince Henry of Wales. And I'm going to ask His Excellency to also return to the stage as he has a gift to present to His Royal Highness.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Very nice to see you all. Don't worry, I don't have a speech. We're doing this first.
Your Excellency, on behalf of Government House, and I would also say the national parks, I will include them, I want to present to you this special gift, which is a set of paintings from one of our great artists, Margot Davis. And I hope that you will enjoy it and that you will always remember Antigua and Barbuda.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. I think you'd like to.
Not that I had a speech, but Sir Rodney stole pretty much every line that I was going to say, especially the fact that it was my grandparents' 69th wedding anniversary, which I think deserves another round of applause. And Sir Rodney, don't worry, we'll find the key for you and you'll be able to move in very shortly. I do have a letter here from Her Majesty the Queen. Prince Philip and I send our warmest wishes to Antigua and Barbuda on the occasion of this celebration to mark 35 years of independence. I have fond memories of visiting your country in 1966, 1977 during the Silver Jubilee, and again in 1985. I will never forget the warmth of your people and the incredible natural beauty of the islands. It has been a great privilege for me to watch Antigua and Barbuda develop into the confident country it is today, with a strong national identity and a positive outlook. I congratulate all of you for the part you have played in building this community and creating so many opportunities for the next generation. Elizabeth R. And lastly, I just want to say huge congratulations to everybody that was involved in the restoration project. I think it is unbelievable to see what it was like 3 months ago and to see what it is like now. So a huge team effort and a round of applause to everybody, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness. And ladies and gentlemen, at this point, His Royal Highness will be escorted upstairs to unveil the plaque. While this is being done, we're going to ask you all to remain in this area, or you can also proceed to the other side where there are cocktails and drinks awaiting you, and then also to await the announcement for when you all will be allowed a tour of the house. But for now, we're going to ask you to please allow the tour to take place with His Royal Highness. Thank you all for coming. Do enjoy the lovely atmosphere, the ambiance, the music, the food, and the drink. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Marcella Andre.
That brings us to the end of the proceedings here. Well, the first part of the proceedings here at Clarence House, we saw a speech from the Governor General as well as the Honorable Asset Michael, who also gave a welcome. And then we also saw the project overview coming from Sir Peter Harrison, and he's from the Heritage Foundation. So we got quite a bit of information, and then of course the moment everybody was waiting for, the Prince himself went on the podium and he gave us that speech from Her Majesty the Queen, as well as, you know, he said his bit about being here, being happy to be here, enjoying himself so far. You know, I think everybody at this point is just in awe. You know, at this point everybody's still kind of standing there like, did I just witness that? You know, I think that is kind of the general feeling in here this evening.
Absolutely, and of course he's actually making his way upstairs now, just behind where we are. Our cameras are actually waiting there in position, so don't worry, you won't miss a thing. So as soon as he reaches that point, he's going to unveil that plaque, or opening officially Clarence House. We'll show you every minute of it. So he's just going, of course, to a different area, so we wouldn't have about 10-15 cameras to follow areas that he makes. We have a camera right position so that as soon as he reaches the position where he's going to be doing the unveiling, we'll have that for you. But really, really good to have him deliver the message from his grandmother, Her Majesty the Queen, on the occasion of one, her 90th year, two, Antigua and Barbuda's 35th year of independence as an independent country, and also this is almost 70 years of marriage for the Queen herself and the Duke of the Duke of Edinburgh, right? Prince Philip. It's amazing. It doesn't feel like so long, but the time has flown, and the Queen has aged gracefully. She has aged very well.
You say it doesn't feel so long.
It doesn't feel as long.
You're around 69 years now. That you're not telling us something.
Put it this way. I've been hearing a lot, so much. I've been reading so much, a lot about the Queen. Perhaps because I followed her so much, followed her, her trails so much. Mm-hmm. Perhaps I've
feel like you've lived it with her.
Yes, perhaps I have a sense that I've actually been there with her, and actually been there. I was there when she got married to Prince Philip. But no, I'm not that old. I'm not that old.
I was about to ask you for the remedy. I was like, I need that remedy.
Perhaps I would have found the fountain of eternal youth, right, which has been sought from however long. One Ponce de Leon was trying to find it, he couldn't find it. But clearly, I mean, wonderful moment, isn't it?
Yes,
we
it
have
is.
witnessed real history unveiled literally before our eyes. Here is an edifice which was built 1783, and just for context, Alejandra, 1783. 70 years after the American War for Independence, 70 years after America, the American colonies became independent. And if we could go another 6 years before the French Revolution, so this is a very momentous time during which Clarence House is built, this edifice behind us, 1783, and it would have seen so much, it would have told so much in terms of history, and now it stands before us, albeit a different iteration, with changes, with refurbishments, but it stands as a monument to history, as a monument to the endearing legacy of our colonial past, and the endearing legacy of our strong British rich tradition.
That is true.
This must be celebrated.
It must be
absolutely celebrated.
But beyond Clarence House, I think Antigua and Barbuda in particular is extra special, kind of dear to the royal family, especially Prince Harry, because as you heard the Honorable Minister Michael said in his speech, he came here as a little boy with both his brother and mother. They vacation here a lot, especially over in Barbuda. So I can guarantee you that he's looking forward to that journey over to Barbuda, when he's got that opportunity to go over and see how it has developed from the time he has been there as a little boy to now. And of course, that's going to bring back some bittersweet memories for him, not having his mom there anymore. She, of course, would have passed in 1997. And so I think this entire trip to Antigua and Barbuda is so much more significant than a lot of us are even realizing.
Yes.
For Prince Harry.
It has quite a bit of memories for him.
It does.
And as I said, he's 32 years old now, and because he's traveled so much, many of those travels representing his grandmother, the Queen, it almost feels like he's a little bit older, but at 32 he's actually grown up before our eyes, and he's grown up before the eyes of the worldwide media, and so many persons, the attention would have been transfixed on him in the 1990s when he was at the funeral of his grandmother, funeral of his mother,
mom.
Princess Diana. He would have walked, for example, behind the coffin of his mother to Westminster Abbey, and he would have soaked in all of that. One, the worldwide media attention, and also those memories of his mother. And his mother really had such a strong, enduring influence on him and his brother William. It's just amazing, cannot be underestimated. And I think he has grown with those memories, he's used those memories to make him stronger. And I think right now he's pretty much matured. Of course, you remember those teenage years which the paparazzi call rebellious teenage years. And essentially, I think for to a large extent, he's matured. And now he is really looking the part as somebody who is number 5 in line for the British throne.
Yeah, he really is, and we had that discussion off camera about his maturity, but I must say it is not easy to grow up before the public, to grow up in front of the public's eyes. And the media, we are guilty sometimes of spinning things to get ratings.
Absolutely.
And he would have had to go through all of this and conquer that to become who he is now. But I think his tours to Afghanistan and all these different things, working with the children as closely as he does in Africa, and he's very passionate about that. Of course, that particular charity was formed to honor his mom. And so when you think about all of that he's been going through and the different things that he has been seeing, like you said, he's very well traveled. At 32 years of age, I don't think there's any other 32-year-old in the world that can say they have done as much as Prince Harry has.
Absolutely. Been in the army, now out of it, now in charity. I mean, so much. It's probably
it probably mirrors the experience of a 60-something-year-old at this point. The amount of things that he has done and the things that he is now passionate about and working on, that will change a person. Make you a better person overall. And so I think that is what we're seeing manifest now from Prince Harry. Everybody goes through that phase. And I think the loss of his mother played a very big role in why we saw some of that, what the media would say, his rebellious years.
and to be true and to be clear, the paparazzi really followed him around a whole lot. The paparazzi were very interested in almost every step he took. And of course, we don't have to go back and rehash all of those. Suffice it to say, I think he's learned from all those experiences, and I think that he's really appreciated the kind of confidence that his grandmother, the Queen, Her Majesty, has reposed in him. And I think, for example, you would have heard him just read out the message from Her Majesty the Queen, wishing Antigua and Barbuda well on its 35th anniversary of independence, saying she herself, the Queen, has had fond memories of Antigua and Barbuda, talking about the warmth of the people, the endearing nature, the allure of the islands. And clearly Antigua and Barbuda would have made a mark on Queen Elizabeth.
That's right. And what I found very interesting as I read through the itineraries, that he wanted to experience the Antiguan culture, the authentic Antiguan culture. So he wanted Antiguan music, Antiguan food. He wanted it all Antiguan. And I guess that is why we probably have the band that we have playing in the background now, because we do have Asha Otto and the Itchy Feet band that's going to be entertaining him this evening. And as you can see, everybody's kind of making their way over to where the band is. And I'm sure he's looking forward to that little bit where he actually gets to let his hair down and loosen up the jacket a little bit and, party a little bit.
Funny enough, and by the way, we're now seeing, you aren't missing anything as we continue to talk right here, because in a few minutes or so, he'll be unveiling the plaque, which is ensconced behind that red cloth that you're seeing just to the middle of your screen now. So he'll be removing that cloth to unveil the plaque right there, and to essentially declare open officially Clarence House here. And just to be clear, Alejandro, in terms of the resonance and the historical significance of what we're seeing here, this is such rich history behind us unfolding, such rich history. Royalty would have stayed here, naval commanders would have stayed here. It really has been attracting, it really has attracted over the last 200 years or so, or almost,
the best of the best,
the most important people, certainly in terms of British history and Antiguan history. It has had the best of the best. It has,
and I think that's why I think each and every one of us, yourself included, feel so honored to be here this evening, and lots of times we have things in our history that we don't even pay attention to. We take for granted and we overlook it. But this house here, Clarence House, also significant to us here in Antigua and Barbuda. And I think the folks at home, you at home, whenever you get the opportunity to, once this is declared open, you need to come on up, take a tour of it, go through the museum, see what it's all about, learn a little bit more about Clarence House, even Nelson's Dockyard here. I'm sure a lot of us here in Antigua and Barbuda have no idea why it's called Nelson's Dockyard. They don't even know it was named after Horatio Nelson, Admiral Horatio Nelson.
The famed Horatio Nelson.
Yes.
The Horatio Nelson was had such a significant role in British military exploits at the time when Britain ruled the Seven Seas, when it was Royal Britannia rule of the Seven Seas, or when it was becoming that. I mean, it's amazing. Such rich history, as we said.
It is. And, even Nelson's Dockyard being the lookout point for our sistering islands or neighboring islands, the French islands in particular.
Martinique and so on.
Yes,
Guadeloupe
and so on,
Martinique.
going down there, and I'm sure a lot of folks don't even know that it's actually one of the safest harbors for hurricanes and different things like that for the boats. So, come on out and just enjoy a little bit of the history that is up here at Clarence House. And I'm sure as we go through the upcoming weeks, we are going to hear more about Clarence House and what is available, what they're going to be doing, because I'm sure after this new unveiling that Prince Harry is going to be doing, there's so many other things that are going to be coming up that are going to be taking place here. And so I think we will have the opportunity here at ABS to continue to educate the public about the things that are going on up here at Clarence House.
Most definitely, Alejandra. And just to be clear, a site of significant cultural importance. It was a residence housed local officials from 1786 through to the 1950s. It's a living monument, and Clarence House is deeply important to the architectural and cultural history of Antigua and a stunning component of the Antigua Naval Dockyard World Heritage Site. As I said, we're standing on hallowed grounds.
Yes.
Hallowed grounds culturally, hallowed grounds historically, hallowed grounds in terms of the whole umbilical connection to the colonial past, which Antigua and Barbuda richly embraces, because every country has to have some sort of grounding, has to have some sort of roots. Where did we come from? Why are we here? Where are we going? And I think in the history, in the whole rubric of the history of Antigua and Barbuda, which is of course inextricably linked to the British Empire, Clarence House is perhaps the most significant edifice of that, which really speaks to that whole thing. And pretty much now going forward, it will be used as a site for venues for conferences, events, and celebrations. It will be, as I said, standing here as one of the shining examples of, one, a philanthropic effort. Because, for example, Sir Peter Harrison, who would have spoken here, would have played such a yeoman's role in that. And so it stands as a beacon of philanthropy, people getting together for a worthwhile effort.
Yes.
The real efficiency and genius of workmen, stonemasons and others who would have worked to restore this, because it's not easy.
It is not.
They would have done an amazing job.
Because restoration is kind of tricky, because now you're trying to keep the original elements of the building, while enhancing somewhat to make sure that it withstands the test of time. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that. With most times whenever we have a home and we want to restore, we just knock it all down and start from scratch and go on. But you cannot do that with a building as significant as this one here. You have to keep the original elements. And as you're looking there, you're seeing the shots of Prince Harry kind of greeting some of the guests here that are here to see this very special unveiling and the official declaration of opening here of Clarence House. He's making his way around. He's going to get to that plaque really, really soon, and then he will be unveiling it really shortly. But just to let the public know, while he's here, he has a very packed schedule. Tomorrow he has that sports showcase, which comes up at Sir Vivian Richards Cricket Stadium. He will see the greats. How many people can say they have been in one room with Sir Vivian Richards, Sir Andy Roberts, Sir Curtly Ambrose? It is going to be absolutely amazing, I think. And the young children that are going to get that opportunity tomorrow to display their talents, their sporting talents, to Prince Harry, I think that will go down in their memory as probably the best day ever when it comes to sports. And so I think they're looking forward to that. That will be taking place tomorrow. And of course, we here at ABS will continue to bring you live coverage of each and every one of these events as they take place.
Wall-to-wall coverage, Alejandra, of that's what you would have expected from your nation station, and that's exactly what we'll be delivering, the finest quality coverage of the visit of His Royal Highness Prince Henry. And just for our viewers who might have missed what we said at the very top, you might still be confused. So for those viewers who would not have heard what we said at the top about, for example, making that clarification, or making it clear why we're saying
Prince Henry,
His Royal Highness Prince Henry of Wales, just to be absolutely clear, he was christened in December of 1984. Of course, he was born on September 15, 1984, and christened by the Archbishop of Canterbury, Henry Charles Albert David. Henry Charles Albert David. And so he was christened as Henry, but it was clear that the royal family had indicated very early on that he would be called affectionately Harry. So he would be known by Harry as Harry. And so many persons around the world know him as Prince Harry. But to be absolutely official, if we're going to be referred to him by his in terms of being Wales, tied to Wales, it's His Royal Highness Prince Henry of Wales.
And that's correct.
Absolutely clear.
Yes, and we're looking up here now. We're seeing him make his way closer and closer. I think they are about to begin the unveiling ceremony. We see the Governor General, His Excellency Sir Rodney Williams, alongside the Honorable Asset Michael, as well, standing there.
Just about ready to unveil it. I suppose he just wanted to get all the camera angles right to make sure that it's a picture perfect moment.
On logistics.
Indeed.
Here we go now, and on the count of 3, 1. Maybe?
Probably looking a little bit presumptuous, Alejandro. You're counting for them. I think they're perhaps doing their own counting. I don't think they're actually ready to count just yet, actually. And just to be clear, in terms of the key people who would have worked on this, Alejandra, and of course you won't miss a picture of that because we'll be showing you that shortly.
That's right.
The Restoration Committee was activated in terms of having the best Antiguan craftsmen, stonemasons and foremen experienced in restoration. They were selected, and the architect, Andrew Goodnow, quantity surveyor Richard Watson, engineer J. Oliver Davis Jr., restoration and project managers from the dockyard Marius Smith and Michael Fermius, and oversight for historical authenticity trustee Dr. Reginald Murphy. Parks Commissioner Anne-Marie Martin has been the driving force behind the project. So those are some of the key people who would have been involved in this restoration here.
There you go, the unveiling.
There you go.
There we have it.
A round of applause, and it's now officially open. Clarence House, the renovated Clarence House.
And we see former Governor General there of Antigua and Barbuda, Dame Louise Lake Taft. We did hear in the speech earlier
from Sir Peter Harrison.
That she was very instrumental in this happening here this evening, and so it was only fair that she stood up there with them this evening. We also see Miss Anne-Marie Martin. She's there in red, standing next to the Governor General and First Lady Williams. And I'm curious to see what is on that plaque. I would like to read. We're going
to be getting a close up of that very shortly.
Really shortly.
Indeed.
So now I guess it is now official. The plaque has been unveiled.
And we're getting a little closer, right? Getting a little closer there. But we're just being a little bit blocked. But we'll get there.
We'll get there eventually. We'll let them know what is on there before the evening is out, I'm sure.
But of course,
we'll get a chance to have a read. Yeah.
And now with that out of the way, His Royal Highness now descending the stairs, and he'll be leaving shortly for his accommodation. Of course, getting ready for a packed schedule of activities tomorrow, which we'll of course be covering for you as well. But the restoration here, Alejandra, critically has maintained the Georgian architecture, has maintained the Georgian style, which has been such a significant element of Clarence House. So as you rightly mentioned, the restoration work had to ensure that you kept the significant defining features. The quintessential feature is the Georgian architecture, and that has been kept in the restoration effort here.
Okay, so there we go, to commemorate the restoration of Clarence House, the opening by His Royal Highness Prince Henry of Wales on November 20th, 2016, funded by the Peter Harrison Heritage Foundation, it looks like.
It does.
I think that's what it says.
There he is.
There he is.
Yes, indeed.
Sir Peter Harrison. And we're hearing the band strike up now. We're hearing Asha Otto and the Itchy Feet do their thing. Of course, the Prince is mingling a little bit, going down into the courtyard area, just enjoying the sights and sounds of Antigua and Barbuda this evening.
And you did mention that he wanted to experience the authentic Antiguan experience.
That is right.
In terms of food, music, and so on. Just to be clear, another 24 hours from now, roundabout, there will be the Prime Minister's reception, and that will be pretty much a soca themed event.
Yes.
And we would have heard on our newscast on Friday, Chief of Staff in the Office of the Prime Minister, Ambassador Lionel Maxhurst, tell us that T and Winter, Ricardo Drew, and some of the other acts will also be there as well in a very distinctively Antiguan soca themed event.
That is correct. You know, I mean, I think that's the best way to go. Why go to another island and not experience the full culture of the people? You know, and I think that's what he wants to take with him. That's the memory he wants to take back with him. The true Antiguan Caribbean flair.
Let's be clear. The Commonwealth now has just over 50 countries, around about 52, 53 countries. And all of these 50-odd countries in the Commonwealth have significant differences, specific areas that make them unique. And I think in traveling his way throughout the Commonwealth, the Prince and his brother William would be very keen on ensuring that they experience as best as possible the uniqueness of these countries who are still part of the Commonwealth. You know, Queen Elizabeth, Her Majesty, has called the Commonwealth a family of nations.
That is right.
And I think even within that family, even within any family, there are differences. There's unique elements. There are unique attributes to each person.
Yes.
And I think that's what happens in this family of nations. In the Commonwealth, even in the Caribbean, there's so much difference and uniqueness to the islands, even in the Eastern Caribbean, the sub-region. And I think the Prince wants to ensure that he experiences as much of that uniqueness as possible. And he still continues to mingle around and talk to the people here, because that's how generally he is.
Yes.
He's very personable, very affable, somebody who will meld in any environment that he comes into. And I think that's really endeared him, and also just like it endeared his mother to people, it's endearing him and his brother to people as well.
That is right. But Garfield, I think that we have come to an end of our coverage here this evening from Clarence House, hoping that our viewers enjoyed every single moment that we had here for you live at Clarence House, out here at the historic Nelson's Dockyard. The house is now officially open as declared by His Royal Highness Prince Henry of Wales. Yes, Prince Henry, that's what we said.
and don't think we're mistaken, okay?
No, we're not mistaken.
Have a look at it. If you think, because you've been so accustomed to hearing Harry,
yes.
You might see it as a bit weird, and you might be wondering, why are they making mistakes saying Henry? Why do they keep saying Henry? But that was it. Well, that's what he was christened as, okay?
That is correct.
So that's what we're saying.
As we would say here in Antigua, Harry's a nickname.
Yes.
If you want to put it that way.
Yes.
That's his nickname. All right, putting it in layman terms, that's his nickname. All right, Prince Harry, but it's officially Prince Henry of Wales. Okay, so like we said before, this has brought us to the end here. I think the Prince is about to go let his hair down, take that jacket off, and dance to some smooth sounds of Asha Otto and the Itchy Feet Band performing now on stage.
He's going to do that, Alejandro? I'm not absolutely sure he's going to do that. I don't think he wants to harken back or revive memories of bygone days when the media, the paparazzi, I should say, the paparazzi were very interested in him. I think he's changed his image significantly.
Yes.
I think those were what could be called a kind of rebellious teen years, and I think since he's become, over the last 2-3 years or so, certainly, he's become far more mature, far more stately, and I think that's the kind of image and persona that he wants to project.
This evening.
So I'm not so sure that he's going to let his hair down here. Certainly not here, certainly not for the cameras.
Certainly not for the cameras, so we will see. But we want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you to our viewers for tuning in right here with us, ABS TV 10. And for those of you joining us via the live stream at www.abstvradio.com, thank you so much for making ABS your viewing choice. We know you could have been viewing anybody else, but you chose us, and we really do appreciate that.
Just very quickly, Alejandra, just to remind our audience and to say sorry again for that break-in transmission we had earlier. No fault of our own. It was some totally extenuating circumstances, issues totally beyond our control, but we were able to scramble to get it back up. As we said, absolutely no fault of our own. So we would have lost transmission for about 2 or 3 minutes or so earlier on in our presentation. But as I said, that was absolutely no fault of our own. We tried our best to ensure that everything was fine, but there were some exogenous factors that we had to contend with, which caused that break in transmission. So apologies for that a bit earlier on.
That's right. Well, coming to you live here from Clarence House, I am Alejandro Robinson. I've been here alongside Mr. Garfield Burford. We want to wish you all a pleasant evening. Do continue to enjoy the rest of our viewing here at ABS TV 10. We will see you shortly. Bye-bye.
Good night. Good song.